For me, I just want to talk about Bradley Manning and Edward Snowden a little bit more because I just realized that they really have a deep loyalty toward humankind. They did not want to commit treason against human beings on Earth, and they pay a big price for that. And I think it's very important to look beyond one's country and as well as placing values on human lives, even if they're not Americans. For me, for Bradley Manning, I feel that he exposed the way the U.S. military dehumanized some of the Afghanis and Iraqis. Not all U.S. soldiers are bad people, and I don't think they are, and I would never say that. But I think that he exposed the leak because he felt that, well, that's what he said. He felt that, some of the soldiers were not putting values on human life that were not Americans. And for Edward Snowden, he exposed the NSA because of what they're doing. Their warrant, their surveillance toward all Americans as well as non-Americans, and in particular, non-U.S. person has zero rights when it comes to privacy because the NSA openly admits that, they can do whatever they want when it comes to surveillance and monitoring non-U.S. citizens. And Edward Snowden found that to be morally objectionable, and I think we should all thank him for that. The world should thank him as well as Bradley Manning because they demonstrate solidarity toward people of this world. And he also exposed the NSA for running network operation against countries which were not even declared U.S. enemies. He pointed out where the NSA has hacked civilian infrastructure like university, hospital, and private business. He called these U.S. action as nakedly aggressive criminal act. And I realized that many countries commit the same actions, and they are just as bad when it comes to these, monitoring, spying on other countries. And I condemn all of those actions. And I'm sure that Bradley Manning and Edward Snowden would condemn the same actions if they're done by the Chinese or the United Kingdom or any other countries. But I'm reminded of a recent event where the U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder, he maintained that U.S. drone killing had always been acceptable when it comes to non-Americans, and I found that to be a little bit disturbing simply because if you're not American, then you basically have no right to liberty or privacy at all. And I question the values the U.S. government, as well as the other government, the values they put on human life, especially human lives that were not, citizens of their own country. If the Americans, they really care so much about the people of Syria, then, or Iraqis or Afghanis, they are doing something wrong because they're not showing it in a correct way, in my opinion. As a non-American, I want to thank Edward Snowden and Bradley Manning because I think that what connects us as people is that we're human beings, and even if we're of different races or ethnicity or nationality, they sacrifice their freedom as well as being labeled a traitor by their own country in order to protect the privacy and freedom of not only U.S. citizens but for people everywhere. And I think that is the way of the future, that we should, if we're supposed to live in a global economy, then I think we should value human life a little bit more. And that's all.